The joy of trying out a new thing. So first of all, because you can watch this back, but I don't know who does. So first of all, because you can watch this back, but I don't know who does. So first of all, because I had Twitch open to look at myself, and it was very messy. So, I've got a bunch of friends away at a board gaming conference, board gaming event for several days. And unfortunately, I can't be there. They're North Wales, I'm not. So as such, I wanted to do something myself. And I like playing games on Board Game Arena. If you've not heard of it, it's a fantastic way to play lots of board games. You can play lots for free, and they also do a subscriber tier. I paid for the subscription for the year. I think it was like £27 for the year, which is not even one good board game these days. And I wanted to play some one-player games. I'll probably get through one game, maybe two, depending. So, a one-player game that I've been enjoying is a game called Caverna. Let's keep it in trading. Do normal. I haven't tried normal yet. So with this, it is a worker placement game. You have two dwarves, and I so hope that my things are shining through. Looking at my phone for the feed. Yes. And so each you have multiple rounds. There are 11 rounds, so it's fixed duration. That's the key thing I like about games like this. I don't like games which just go on and on with no determined endpoint. So things like Settlers of Catan, Monopoly, just whereas I'm like, it will not go past round 11 in single player. I think it goes up to 12 when there's 3 or more. Each round you get to put down one of your meeples. In this case they are dwarves. They live in the mountains. Once you've put them on something, you can't use it again that round. Some things build up, so more wood will go on here, and on here. Iron will go on here, rubies on here, and so forth. I want to try and get as many points out of this as I can. And these are all the things I can give points. So I get points for having dogs, I get points for having sheep, wild boar, cattle, donkeys. If I haven't got any of the animals bar dogs, I lose 2 points. So I want at least one. If I get one, that's a 3-point swing, which is fantastic. I get half a point for grain just because you can make so much of it and it's an easy way to feed your people. I get a point for vegetables. I get a point for rubies, but they're a true wild card in terms of what you can spend them with. Dwarfs are worth 1 point each, which isn't great. Like, if you can get up to 5 dwarves, fantastic. But then you've got to feed them. It's much easier to get like 5 of an animal, generally sheep. I lose points by not filling up my board, so it's incentivizing me to fill it up. Though towards the end of the game, I found I'm better taking something that's worth more points than the points I'm losing for not using space. Yeah, hopefully you'll see. I get points for pastures. I get points for ruby mines and buildings. Give points for going. And if I can't feed my people, I have to beg, and I lose points. So currently, due to no animals and all this unused space, I'm on minus 28 points, so I'm not even at 0 yet. So there's 2 main ways I like going with this. I've played it several times with friends. It's very similar to a game called Agricola. I played like 2006 or so when it first came out. Like one of the greatest worker placement games ever. If anything, it has a lot of choice because it has cards and so forth. This has learnt some lessons from that. It's dialed it down because you don't have the random factors from cards. So there's more buildings. Oh my god, there are a lot more buildings. Wow. Okay, so this is my first time with more buildings, and it is noticeable. Generally, the I won't even say the bottom row because some of the ones I've seen before are on the bottom row, but other times, um, like some like things like prayer chamber, I have not seen before. It's like if I don't have any dwarves with a weapon, I can gain more points. Hmm. Peaceful cave can get me rid of weapons. Okay, so there's a lot more going on with this, a lot more buildings. So I will. The downside of doing this is I never know if there's people in the room or anything. So I have to tab out every so often. So I need to get some agriculture going. I've got. So let's go through these. Excavation, I can put down a tile and it will either have space for 2 rooms, so 2 of these, or we'll have room for 1 cabin space and 1 tunnel space, which is useful if I want to go mining. And every turn this isn't taken, 1 stone gets added. Once it gets up to 6, if something would be put on, they all get wiped out, so it doesn't just build up massively. I can get a dog. There's no dogs can live everywhere, so like you don't have to take the dog, but there's no downside. I might need to check the new buildings, but there's no downside. And I can do and or put down any one of these many, wow, many buildings. Oof. I can take some wood. So if no wood's on there, 3 wood get put on. If there is wood on there, only 1 wood gets put on. If I have a dwarf with a weapon, and I do not, I can go on an expedition. I get to, if there's no ore, put 2 ore on. Otherwise, put 1 ore every turn. And then if I've got a ore mine, I gain 2 ore for every ore. If I'm going down the weapon route, I want ore. If I'm not going down the weapon route, I don't really need the ore. I get ruby mining. So rubies are ridiculously flexible, and I'm going to need to go there at some point. Slash and burn, so I get to put down my meadows and fields, which allow me to store animals and grow crops, and then I can sow my wheat and vegetables, but I need some first. Gain some food every turn if it's building up, as well as a grain, and then if I want to, I can place a field, but I can't put stuff on the field. Just gain wood, so it's a weaker version of this. And then if I had ore, I can start blacksmithing to make weapons and then go on expeditions. Now, the thing with expeditions is they're really, really powerful. So the stronger the dwarf is that goes on the expedition, the more things they can do. So whatever that number is, you can do everything with that and lower. So if I was to have get 8 ore and make a strength 8 dwarf, which is the strongest you can make at blacksmithing, then I could do strength 8 and all the things above it. So everything of a lower value. So I can, and you can take 1 thing per expedition. So I could build a stable, I could take a wild boar, I could take donkey, sheep, grain, vegetables, gold, which is just points or in an emergency you can convert it to food, but no. And then later it gets really powerful. I think I'm going to try not going down the weapon route and the expeditions. I'm going to try like peacefully expanding, growing, that kind of stuff. So I will start off by I'm going to get some sustenance. So as I explore the boards, I must start next to my house. This teeny tiny door. Let's zoom in a bit. Oh, that did not work as well as I hoped. So next to here, there was a tiny tunnel. That is the dwarf's way in and out of the mine. So you've got to be adjacent to it. And I can choose. So I will have like the field there. Now I can go upwards, and I can go towards this boar. If I get that boar, I get a free boar. Or I can go towards the food. If I like working towards the boars because it gives me, they're a good source of meat. I need 2 food per dwarf I have. You can kill a boar to make 2 food. And later on, so long as you have 2 or more of an animal, you can grow another animal, but you can't eat the parents or the child. So I need 3 to be able to eat one every turn. Otherwise, I can't replace them. If I go over here, if I cover the water, I gain 1 food. And in the mountain, if I go here, I can get 1 food. Or all the way up here, I can get 2 food. So it can be nice to try and rush towards getting that, but it's not sustainable, which is the problem. So, yes, I would like to confirm my turn. So that's my first dwarf done. So because the dwarf's on there, I can't go on there again, and I've only got 1 action left. At the end of this, the round completes. For this harvest, I don't have to pay any food, and my crops don't grow. Round 2, same again. I don't have to pay to feed my dwarfs, but I'm not growing my crops. I'm not raising any new animals. Round 3, I do. At round 4, I have to pay 1 food instead rather than 2, but I'm not growing stuff, so it's in between the effectiveness. I could look at getting some wood, and the nice thing is if I hover over the future rounds, I know what things are exactly or roughly coming. So in round 2, there will be sheep farming, guaranteed. And on there, I could pay 2 wood, make a small pasture, covers 1 square. I could pay 4 wood, make a pasture that's 2 squares big. I don't have 2 squares big at the minute. I could pay a stone and make a stable that doubles the capacity of a pasture. So a normal pasture can hold 2 animals. Large pasture can hold 4, so it doubles up to 4 and 8. If I put the stable on a forest, I can store 1 boar, but no other animal. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on in this game. I could do it. Right, what do the buildings do? So, like, mixed dwelling worth more points. So I try to avoid the simple dwellings because they're taking up space and don't give me points. I could have a normal dwelling, which is in a beginner game. 4 wood, 3 stone gives me 3 points. I can store 1 dwarf in there. Mixed dwelling costs 1 more of each, but it's an extra point, and I can store 1 pair of animals. That's quite nice. A couple dwelling, 8 and 6, but room for 2 dwarfs, so it is double the price. Okay. Additional dwelling, room for 6 dwarf only. Fine. Got a room for 1 wood. I can store as many sheep as I have people. So if I've only got 2 people, that's only storing me 2 sheep, which isn't great. If I get to 5 or even 6 people, I can store a lot of sheep. The breakfast room, I can keep up to 3 cattle in there. I don't... Just for making milk? I don't know. The stubble room, I can keep 1 farm animal on each empty field. So if I want to go having lots of animals rather than growing crops, I can store them, and it doesn't matter what kind of animal it is, which is nice. Workroom is new to me. Instead of mines, you can build furnishing tiles on your tunnels and deep tunnels when taking a furnish a cavern or furnish a dwelling action. Remember, you can spend 1 ruby to get a tunnel tile. You cannot build the workroom on a tunnel tile. Okay. The guest room. Either or becomes and or for you. So from now on, whenever you take either or action, you can read it as and or. There are a few exceptions with either or. Urgent wish for children. Ruby mine construction growth. In a 7-player game, I'm not playing 7 players, so that's not fine. And the office room. Twin tiles may overhang. Every time you do, take 2 gold. So I could have things go over the edge of the board and I get points for it. That's quite nice. Right. Oh, hang on. Oh man, this is a lot of... So the green ones are like they help you in some way. Brown ones were dwellings. Gold are what makes it primarily there to make you points. It's carpenter, I already know. Pay 1 every time you furnish a cabin or build fences. Receive a discount of 1 wood, which is quite nice because some things it can make me for free. like the stone carver. For 1 wood, but it gives me no points. Stone carver, 1 wood and a point. Immediately gain 2. Every time you furnish a cavern or build a stable, you receive a discount of 1 stone. I have had games where I take a wood and I do housework. I build me a stone carver. The stone carver gets me 2 stone and makes my stone things cheaper. So for free, I can build a carpenter, and then I'm building stuff for free. The problem is, it's a lot of effort, and it's not making me food. So I might try it if I can get my food engine sorted. Blacksmith, wood and 2 stone, immediately gain 2 ore. Every time you forge a new weapon, you receive a discount of 2 ore. Not bad, but I think I'm going the pacifist route. So mine is new. At the beginning of each round, you will gain 1 ore from the general supply for each ore mine holding a donkey. This does not apply to ruby mines with donkeys. So I need ore mines, which I don't think I'm going to get. Builder, again, this is a new one. Costs a stone and worth 2 points. You may replace 1 wood with 1 ore and or 1 stone with 1 ore when paying for a furnishing tile. For instance, you can build the blacksmith for 2 ore and 1 stone. Okay, interesting. So it gives you a use for lots of ore if you're not going down the weapon route. Quite interesting. Trader, 1 wood gives me 2 points. At any time before scoring, you can buy 1 wood, 1 stone, and 1 ore from the general supply for a total of 2 gold. You can only buy the full set. The player who has built the spare part storage. A player who has already built the spare part storage and decides to build the trader as well must place the trader on top of the spare part storage, thus overbuilding the spare part storage. I haven't even seen the spare part storage yet, so let's see if that turns up later. Wood supply I've seen before. Cost a stone, 2 points. 1 wood for the next 7 rounds. So this is one where it's been debated between the carpenter and the wood supplier. Like, will I do more than 7 woods worth of savings, or am I better wood supplying? I steadily get it over 7 rounds, which is nice. Stone supply is a similar thing, but only getting me 5 stone. So again, what's my tipping point of how many rooms am I building? How stables? Excuse me. The ruby supplier, 2 stone, 2 wood, 2 points. Not bad. 1 ruby at the beginning of the next 4 rounds. So effectively I paid 4 resources for 4 flexible resources there. Dog school, this is new. From now on, you will immediately get 1 wood from the general supply for each new dog you place on your home board. I mean, it costs nothing, but it gives me no points. It's just taking up space. And the only way I'm really getting dogs is with housework. I mean, I feel like this dog is bringing me sticks that I have not thrown, which is quite nice. Quarry. From now on, you immediately get 1 stone from the general supply for each newborn donkey. This does not apply to donkeys that you get from the game board or from Ruby, so only when I'm growing donkeys. So I need 2 donkeys, and I need space for the new donkey, to get a stone a turn. That's... I mean, if I can get a donkey before round 2, it's not really going to be easy because I'd need somewhere to put them. Then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It could maybe be 8 stone. Like, would I just be better with a stone supplier? Seam. But now you immediately get 1 ore for the general supply on top of each stone, regardless of how you got the stone. Interesting. Slaughtering Cave, which I've seen before, I don't really had a chance to focus on. I feel like what I need to do is pick like a building or two and go, I want to focus on this. So this is one I could do because it gets me my food engine. 2 wood, 2 stone, 2 points. You will get 1 more food from the general supply for each farm animal that you convert into food. And then it reminds you, you cannot convert dogs into food. You don't eat the dogs. So sheep are worth 1 food. Boar are worth 2. I can show you on here. So a donkey is worth 1 food, but 2 donkeys at the same time is worth 3. So really they're 1.5 round down. Sheep are worth 1. Grain is worth 1. Boar are worth 2. Vegetables worth 2. I think I need a building to convert ore to food. And cattle are worth 3. So because the animals are worth the same amount of points, cattle are the best for food, sheep are the best for points. And then it downgrades. So it goes in terms of meat efficiency, cows are best, then boars, then donkeys, then sheep. So slaughtering cave means if I was slaughtering 1 cattle, I would get 4 food from it. So that would feed both of my workers, both of my dwarfs, every harvest, which is strong. But you gotta get to that point. So don't know. Cooking cave, you will get 5 food for the general supply instead of 3 every time you convert a set of 1 grain and 1 vegetable into food. Now this is tempting because I could either end up with a surplus. I could have it where if I get enough fields, I could just make large piles of food and not need to worry about harvest. Yeah, it's an option. Working cave. Every time... 1 wood, 1 stone, 2 points. Every time you have to feed your dwarves at the... I moved away. Feed your dwarves at the end of a round, including the special feeding phases, so that, like end of round 4 where I only pay 1 food. You may feed exactly 1 of them with 1 stone, 1 wood, 1 stone, or 2 ore. I don't know how you're feeding this, but you work them? I don't know. I've tried it. It's like if I'm going heavy or like weapons and stuff, it's a way I can offset need to feed 1 of them, but it's not been great. So mining cave is a new one to me. Every time you have to feed your dwarves at the end of a round, including the special feeding phases, the total feeding cost will be reduced by 1 food per donkey in an ore or ruby mine. That seems amazing if you're going down the mining route. Breeding cave. Every time you breed animals in the breeding phase via the corresponding expedition through time, you'll gain 1 food for each newborn animal. If you have a newborn of each of the 4 types of animals, you'll gain 1 more food for a total of 5 food. Take the food from general supply. So if I was breeding animals, even if there was an excess, so if I had 3 sheep, nothing else, I would gain 1 food, and I could always eat 1 sheep to still have a breeding pair and the newborn child. So that could be a way to have lots of sheep. So lots of different animals that I can use for points, but not worry about having to eat them. It's like the opposite of the slaughter cave. You could either eat them or breed them. Peaceful is new. Anytime you can trade the weapons of your dwarves for food, you get a number of food equal in strength to the weapons you trade in. You can trade multiple weapons at the same time or at a different point in time. For instance, if you traded a weapon of strength 14, you would gain 14 food from the general supply. Peaceful cave works well with the prayer chamber, which I saw before. I mean, effectively, it's a roundabout way of trading, converting your ore into food, but you've been able to, like, you could do it late in the game where you go, oh, there's no way to do expeditions. I'm going to give up my weapons now. The weaving parlor. So my gold ones, this is where the bulk of your points are coming from. They're more about earning you points than doing things. So for 2 wood and a stone, when building the weaving parlour, immediately and only once, because if it wasn't, it'd be ridiculous, gain 1 food from the general supply for each sheep on your home board. So if I got a big pile of sheep, I get a big pile of food once. And then when scoring, I gain 1 point for every 2 sheep on my board. This is in addition to just having sheep. So that's quite nice. Sheep, I'm getting round 2. So I would have, if I left it, there would be 2 sheep on there for round 3. I could take it, they could grow. That could be an option for me. Milking parlour is similar to the weaving parlour, getting 1 food per cattle, but I'm getting an extra 1 point per cattle, probably because you're incentivized to normally you just want to eat them. So this is like, would you like 2 points per cattle? So you're like, yeah, I don't want to eat them now. State parlour, this is new. The 3 stone and 5 gold. This is the first time I've seen gold in a cost for something rather than as a reward. When building the state parlour, immediately and only once, recurring theme, gain 2 food from the general supply for each dwelling, specifically dwelling, that is horizontally or vertically adjacent to the state parlour. When scoring, you will gain 4 bonus points for each dwelling that is horizontally or adjacently to it. The entry room, so where I start, is also considered a dwelling. So if I was there or there, I could have. So if I put it expanded covering here, if I had a dwelling here, here, and here, I'd gain 6 food and be worth 12 points, which is beastly. Hunting parlour I have seen before. 2 wood and a point. At any time before scoring, I can turn 2 balls into 2 gold and 2 food. Normally, I could just turn 2 ball into 4 food. So I'm really turning 2 food into 2 gold. So yeah, if I'm going to end up like, whereas 2 ball is worth 2 points. So if I'm looking from a points perspective, I'm making the food for free. If I'm looking at the food perspective, I'm trading away food for gold. So, beer parlour. I've done this one before. 2 wood and 3 points, which is quite nice already. At any time before scoring, I can convert 2 grain into either 3 gold or 4 food. 2 grain is normally 1 point. So that's a massive improvement, but I would need to have just grain fields everywhere. And as you saw, when I take these, I don't get to choose. Do I want to focus on animals or harvesting my plants and vegetables? I get both as a double tile. There are sort of ways around it, but primarily it's like it expects you to do even. So I can't just have a pile of grain. Also, if I wish to use sowing, you're limited to a maximum of 2 grain and 2 vegetables as a singular sowing action. So I can't just go have nothing and quickly fill all my fields out. Blacksmithing parlour. At any time before scoring, you can trade a set of 1 ruby and 1 ore for 2 gold and 1 food. It costs 3 ore to buy. I mean, I can turn 1 ruby into 2 gold or something that converts into 2 food. So it's like I'm turning the ore into the food, and again, it's a bit. That one doesn't excite me. I wouldn't build around that. At some point, I'm actually taking my second action. I need to think what it's going to be. I'm using these buildings to tempt me. Stone storage. 3 wood and a stone. Gain 1 point. 3 wood and an ore. That's a stone. When scoring, the stone storage will be worth 1 bonus point for each stone you have. I mean, I've seen it good in multiplayer when there's lots of things going on. But otherwise, it's just a bit. Ore storage. A wood and 2 stone. But I only gain a point for every 2 ore I have, because ore can build up much faster. So it's trying to balance out. Like, if I had an ore mine and I took ore mining, if it was first time it turned up, I would gain 4 ore straight away. Spare parts storage. At any time before scoring, so for 2 wood and no points. At any time before scoring, you can trade sets of 1 wood, 1 stone, and 1 ore for 2 gold. So this is why it talks about. Where was that trader? Trader. Yeah, so that's why you're like, you can have one or the other, not both. This trader gives you points from existing. Oh man, all this talking is terrible on the voice. Main storage: 2 wood and a stone. Gain 2 points for every yellow building I have. Simple. Weapon storage: 3 wood, 2 stone. I gain 3 points for every dwarf with a weapon. Generally, I like a lot of the stuff I've read online. If you're going for weapons, you don't have a lot of dwarves because of people taking your stuff. Might not be as critical in single player. Supply storage for 3 food and a cost, and a wood. When scoring, the supply storage will be worth 8 points if all of your dwarves that are in play have a weapon. I can see why it says can be combined with a weapon storage. So if I only had 2 dwarves and gave them both weapons, they are all supplied. So I gain 8 points from the supply storage, and I would gain 6 points from the weapon storage. But if I was to then get a third dwarf and not give them a weapon in time, I would gain nothing from the supply storage. But I'd still gain 6 points from the weapon storage. So, very much make sure you get your weapons. Broom chamber. When for a wood, when scoring, the broom chamber will be worth 5 points if you have 5 dwarfs, and if you have 6 dwarfs, you will have 10 points. It does not matter how many dwarfs you had when you were building the broom chamber. Yeah, so it is only at the end of the game. Like, if I built it and it's like, I'm gonna get me those dwarfs. Yeah. Maybe? Treasure chamber, wood and a stone, 1 point for every ruby. So it's like doubling the ruby value, which means you're even less likely to spend them. So you got to make sure you're not spending them to fill any gaps. You're like, well, I'm giving up 2 points here. Am I giving up for something that can do 3 points or more, really? Because otherwise, if it's only 2, why would I bother? And if it's less, why am I making myself worse? So, food chamber, gain 2 wood and 2 vegetables. When scoring, the food chamber will be worth 2 bonus points for each set of 1 grain and 1 vegetables you have in your supply and/or left on your field. You'll still get the usual half point per grain and 1 point for vegetables. So I would gain, well, effectively 4.5 points by having a grain and a vegetable with this. Prayer chamber, as I saw, 2 points. I gain 8 points if none of my dwarves have a weapon. So it's very much the inverse of supply storage. Do all of your dwarves have weapons? Have 8 points. Do none of your dwarves have weapons? Have 8 points. Do some of your dwarves have weapons? Stay away from those 2 things entirely. Rank chamber for 2 stone. When scoring, prevent the loss of up to 7 points. So if I've got a -7 or worse from something, then it's like saying, here, have 7 points. But if I have no minuses, it gives nothing. So I need to be missing something in some way. And fondant chamber, which I've seen before, 2 grain and a stone, 1 bonus point for every 3 animals. Okay, so I can focus on. So, seeing all of this, where do I want my points to come from? Do I want to get weapons and go on expeditions? Do I want to avoid weapons and do prayers? Do I want to focus on getting animals, getting grain and vegetables? Do I want to focus on a specific animal, like the getting loads and loads of sheep or getting some grain? Do I want to rely on getting points from other things because I've been making lots of resources? Or yeah, so there is a lot that goes on with this game. I shared it. I got a friend to play it, and he was like, "Yeah, Lee, this is not working for me. I'll pass, please." And the thing that one of the reasons I like about it, other than its fixed duration, is other than not knowing exactly what each round will be, but you can sort of guess. In fact, I know exactly what each one's going to be. Okay. It's down to what the players do. So it's not like, again, like Catan. I will bring this up because it's a game I hate. If someone rolls a specific number, they might do really well. If someone doesn't roll the numbers they need, they're just watching. They're not interacting with the game. Every round, everyone is using the board. Everyone is doing action. You might not get the action you want, but you're getting to do things. And if someone has 2 dwarfs and someone else has 5 and they're doing 5 actions to your 2, they probably had to put a lot of effort to get those actions. But they also need 10 food to feed them and you need 4. So it's, yeah, they're doing a lot, but how much of it is just maintaining them? We'll see. So after all that, what do I want to do as my second action on the first turn? Because I'm thinking round 3 is when I want to do sheep farming. So on round 3, I'm getting all my construction. Right, if I'm going to ignore mines, I can skip that. So round 3, I could look at picking up wood and doing sheep farming. So if I want to do that, I need space for the animals to grow. Do I want to bother with that when I've only got 1 grain? But I'm never going to get more than 1 grain unless I take like a ruby mining. If next turn, and this is where you can really think ahead. So round 3, I want to take sheep. I want to take wood, which means round 2, I need to be able to do something. Do I take? Because I don't need to. If I sow round 1 or round 2, I'm not getting that stuff back. It's locked away. I could take the ruby mining, so then next turn I take both of these. I've got 3 fields. I could use the ruby to get a vegetable. I'm growing my grain and vegetables. Instead of the sheep, I could look at going after the boars. Because otherwise I can't keep both, because you can't mix animals in your fields because reasons, mainly balance. If I didn't have, I could look at getting dogs and buildings. There's just, if I had a cuddle room, I could put the sheep in there, and I could put the boars in the house or in the pasture. Maybe. I could build up towards having a mixed dwelling. I mean, part of me is tempted to get a resource and then like a wood. Then I'm. getting stuff. Right. Exchange resources. Why would I want to exchange? Why would I want to exchange resources? Oh, because I was showing it off. That's why I'm like, why is it giving me that option? Because I was showing it off to you, and then I started talking about buildings, and I got on a very, very long tangent. I mean, it's still just me, though. Hi, me. So, what's... If I go for a ruby now... Yeah, I'm going to go for the ruby now. So, my people come home. That because all the workers that can go out have gone out. If there are multiple people, it ends only when all the people come out. So again, if I take this, let's go for a lovely matchy-matchy. And then I will place a meadow or field. So when I cover this field, and it automatically went, well, you've got to fit there. The boar comes home. What I will do is I will convert this into a vegetable. So now when I come to sow, and what's nice is it goes, oh, you can't afford it anymore, we will just grow it out. If I change my mind, I put it back to the middle. So I've converted my ruby into a vegetable, which is worth the same number of points, but now I'm growing points / food. So if I say, yeah, I've started building up these things, I am happy with that. Fantastic. Hey, you people, why don't you come home? So this is when I'm like, I want to go logging. Because I want to start getting my sheep ready. So for my second action, I want to place... I'm going to go for a large pasture. I'm going to future-proof getting this. I want to be able to hold a decent number of sheep. So I can hold 4 animals in there. I can't do a small pasture because I've only got 1 wood. So I don't know why it even offers. So this round, my harvest comes in. I grow my things. Because I have the 4 food, it just pays. I grow sheep, so I've now... So this round, my fields aren't growing, my sheep aren't growing, but I only have to pay 2 food, and I've already got 1, so I only need a food from somewhere. So I've started getting my food engine sorted. So the question is, what do I want to do? Now, a part of me is considering if I do sustenance, I can build the fields because they're not growing. So if I sow, I'm not going to be putting growing anything else anyway. Guess what am I getting round 5? I'm getting donkeys on round 5, so I can start having a mix of animals. If I start getting enough stuff done, somehow getting enough wood, I could start just chucking things down left, right, and centre. Because I've got sheep, I've got boars. Well, sorry, potentially I have sheep, boar, cattle, donkey. So I need spaces for 4 different animals. And if I have this even, I've got 6. So that's 1. If I have a single, double, single, that's all the animals I can store, and then 2 in the house. So part of me is thinking, if I take this, I've got the room there. That will bring me, and that will be up on 5 food. Next round, I could take that. That'll be 6 food. There's no point me taking 1 donkey, so there's no reason for that. I could go for the sheep farming again. I could have it where, do I want? Because I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna need room for more of the cat as well. Do I want animals to be my source of food, or do I want animals to be my source of points? And as such, I need to have a lot of animals, and I'm going to need. I need grain for that, or I need wood and stone. So that's 2 different sets of things again I need as well, and yeah, it all builds up. Once things get high, I need to be careful about going over 6. I think it talks about in how to play. Yeah, if there are any spaces with 6 or more goods. So once things get to 5, like that, they might be running out. So, like, if I don't take that next round, it all goes. That my best, making sure things build up. Oh, if I do both of those next round, I mean, that's, yeah. Yeah, let's take this. Let's go with that pattern. And then, why did I say it was to do? So there's no point taking that yet. If next round I have those 2, it's a pair of 5s. That's what it is. That would take me up to 6 wood. I need to start getting the harvest ready again. Yeah, I need to start making room. So I will slash and burn. I will. So we'll grow a vegetable and a grain. I'll always try and grow vegetables first if I can, because they're worth twice as many points and give twice as much food. So I have to pay 1 food each. The game automatically does that for me, because it goes, you know how to do this, it's fine. So 5 isn't concerned, it's when the 6th one. Before refilling, check if there are 6 or more. So this is going to get emptied this round. Next round I could save them, but yeah, if I go for that, I could have a small, large. That's tempting. Yeah, let's do this. We can get our board. We'll have a small. We will have large. I can't build stables because I've got no stone. I'll collect 2 sheep. So I want to say, like, so before I can turn, so my points are jumping massively. As you can see, I'm getting 5 points from grain because it's the grain you have on the board as well as in here. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Half a point each. It seems to be rounding up, which is nice rather than down from a lot of games. I'm getting 5 points from sheep. It's making up for the lack of cattle and donkeys. My unused spaces is plummeting because I've pretty much filled the outside. Just need to look at the mountain. But I'm not getting points from mines, buildings, none of that just, so I'm missing out on bonus points coming inwards. Oh, but I've got a clock right above my head that you can't see. 9 o'clock. And if I wanted to, I could rearrange my animals. So at any time, I can. So I could say, I want all of my beef to be out here. Not my beef, my cows, my pigs. So that will be my turn. These will come back. So I have as much thing. So now I need to actually figure out how I'm feeding my family. Every beggar marker is worth -3 points. I really want to avoid that. That would be terrible. So what I will do is I'm going to have one empty field I can put a vegetable onto. So I will trade that, because I can trade 1 point for one food or half a point for one food. So my points will come down now because I've spent the things. So I'm now down to 8 points, but I'm feeding them. If I didn't feed them, I'd be down to 1 point. And I'd rather be on 8 than 1. And I try to get as high a score as I can. I've not been talking about the things I've been turning up. So, like, all mines has got to go on 2 adjacent tunnels. I have no tunnels. Wish for children. I can either make a child or put down a building. Well, I can't afford a building, and I have no room for children. Donkey farming is the exact same as sheep farming, except I put down donkeys. Ruby mines, I need a tunnel. If it's a normal tunnel, I just put the mine down. If it's a deep tunnel you get from all mine construction, then I also gain a bonus ruby for putting it down, which is like, if you're focusing on that, yeah, great. Go to town. So if I don't do this, all that ore is going away, which is a key problem. So I could go down here, I could get a fuse, I could go up here and work towards this. Since I'm not focusing on any particular kind of pattern or layout, I want to work towards the more food. So yes, I will do you. And then I feel like I've got to get my final meadow down. So I will have vegetable and then the grain over here. So I've got to make my second boar, which will means I will now gain a boar. And I need to start working out how I am going to start feeding myself. So I need 4 food every round. Now potentially I could go, well, I want to eat a sheep, eat grain, eat a vegetable, and I stay neutral. But I also need to make sure I'm able to put down enough stuff to grow all that. So all the dwarves come home, we'll have the harvest. How are we going to feed them all? I do not want to take 4 beggar because so I think I will go for we're going to go for a lot of grain. Keep the vegetables because vegetables are worth more food. So we will pay to feed our family. If I don't take all that wood, the wood falls off. If I don't take all those rubies, all the rubies fall off. I've only got 2 people, and this is where I need dwellings, but I also need the resources to build dwellings. It's like, you can do this with 8 wood. I'm like, but I can't get 8 wood in one go. That needs some serious build up. Like, I could get a normal dwelling. Like, the thing which there's so much you need to be doing, it's hard to balance all. It's like, well, you can get more action if you get more people. Okay. Well, if I'm getting the resources to build the room, I'm not getting the resources to expand my farms to gain the resources I need. If I've got no wood, I can't build pastures. If I've got no stone, I can't build stables. It's just, where is it all going to go? Rubies are just too essential, I think. So with a ruby, I can gain resources. I can gain a gold, which is a teardown. I can plant things. Well, I've filled up now, but it's useful if I wanted to if I want to really focus on like field or really focus on animals. Great, but I still need somewhere to put them. I could pay a ruby and a food to get a cattle, which is why they're worth 3 food. Or I could pay 2 rubies to put down a space for a room, which I've never done, nor have any of my friends. So the thing is, do I want 6 wood? And if I'm not, what am I doing? Because I need to put it down somewhere, but I'm like, well, if I don't take the wood, I gotta feed my people. How am I doing it? And I got a feeling I'm going to start eating some sheep and grain, because if I can only put 4 things down, I'm going to have 5 empty fields, so I'm still going to have an empty field at the end of this round, which isn't great. Whereas if I do this, I lose out on 6 wood. I mean, I want 2 wood for this. I mean, I've got to start balancing out my animals, which is a problem. I can let them build up a bit. I could start wait until I got a few donkeys to start eating them. Like my extra sheep will go in the house. I will eat 1 wild boar a day now, and that's half my food gone. If I were to eat like a wild boar, a sheep, a grain, I hold neutrality, so that might be the direction I go. Just hate eating sheep because I'm only getting 1 food for 1 point. Vegetables get me 2 food. Because effectively they go, well, they're turning into boars or vegetables. If I want to keep harvesting, then I could be like, okay, I want to do like the cooking cave, and I would make a profit on food. A cooking cave? I go for the cooking cave. So I only need like 2 wood for that. I could do. Yeah, we're going to go the cooking cave, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to furnish my cavern. Yeah. I mean, beer parlor. No, I haven't got the wood for the beer parlor. So that's why the cooking cave is the option. So all dwarves come home, we're going to have a harvest. So we're going to empty the fields, bar 1. We can exchange resources. So now I've got the option for the cooking cave. So if I press that, click, they go down. 5 food. Like, do you want to use those to breed animals? Nah, I'm good. Right. So this one's now turned into urgent wish. I can either gain 3 gold, or I can have it where I could buy a dwelling. I can choose which one. And then I can put a kid inside. When you grow a child, they only cost 1 food the turn you build them. Build them? Grow them? Yeah. And this is how I could sow multiple things a turn, but I need the people. And to need the people, I need the resources, and just blah, 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 blah. No. So I can spend a ruby to keep all of that. Which is tempting, because effectively I'm turning 1 ruby into a massive pile of wood. Yeah, let's do that. So I must take it. Otherwise I wasted a ruby on nothing. I'm going to need to eat a boar, so that's going to bring up to 3 food. Keep the pretty rained on that side. I will need to be finishing soon, as my partner is on the way home. So I can't place a murder order, so I must pass on that. So that is the turn. So I definitely don't want to do that. So I might as well eat a cattle. But go for a grain. So I've paid to feed my family. Confirm. My animals breed. Love that animals. So I could look. So with this one, I can turn 2 ore into 2 gold and a food. I can do it 3 times. So I imagine it's an out for people who've done lots of mining or like ore delivery. But this has got like ore and stone. Great. I don't need it. That's a lot of donkeys though. One thing which I haven't got enough sheep to make it worthwhile. If you put with a sheep, you can have, so long as there is at least 1 sheep on a field, you can have 1 dog. You can have dog plus 1 sheep in that space. So if I had 10 dogs, I could have 11 sheep in 1 square, which is great. The problem is that's the only place to get a dog. Let's put the sheep back in there. Confirm reorganization. So we're going to want to eat a sheep and a boar. If I take that, I'm going to have like too many donkeys. Like, do I want a dwelling? I could have a mixed dwelling. Room for draw and a pair of animals. So I could start putting animals in there. Oh, that's tempting. Yeah. We're going to have an urgent wish for kids. We're going to furnish it. We're going to have a mixed dwelling. then we're going to grow the family. So I've got no more stone, because otherwise I'd love to put down stables at the same time. We put down sewing. I mean, that's just a large pile of food. So, yeah, what do I want to do? Well, I think that will be me for tonight, just because things are getting ready to finish. So if someone comes to watch this back, I hope you've enjoyed learning about Caverna. And I hope I figure out what on earth I'm doing to finish the game. Have a good day, evening, night, however this Friday or whenever you watch this back treats you. Cheers very much.